Hi, this is Nell. Today, I want to talk about the focal point principle. I made an illustration called the Center of Attention, which was inspired by this pun/that joke by Gemma Correll, which I'm using today to introduce the focal point principle. The focal point is the area of the image you want for your viewer to look at first, and is usually reserved to the most important piece of your illustration. It can be the face of your character, or the area where the action happens, or a very special item. You can also use it as a storytelling resource, you name it. There are several ways in which we can create a focal point, and we can mix and match methods in order to further emphasize the effect. So let's see how it goes. First, I'm going to start with value. Value is the amount of brightness/darkness a color or hue has. If we take a grayscale, it's pretty straightforward. The brightest value is white, the darkest value is black. Bright values are light grays and dark values are dark grays. Now, each color has a particular value. Yellow, by example, has a high key value because it's bright, as opposed to the low key indigo blue has, given it's darker. For simplicity, I started to paint in black and white so I can nail down my values in raw form. Given I don't have color information, it's easy to work with values directly. Then we have direction and proximity. The latter concept is pretty straightforward. When we have an isolated element separated from the crowd, it's easy to spot. So we are separating our centaur from a crowd of individuals. Direction is a little bit trickier. Basically creates contrast by having lines of direction following a path overall, and our main object disrupting said direction when its own construct lines going to a different direction. In here, I am not precisely using that principle, but rather I am using visual paths. If you notice, the cracks on the background rock point towards the centaur, and the members of the crowd frame her nicely too. If you have buildings or inorganic elements in your illustration, you can use perspective to create said lines of direction. Then we have proportion, which is a principle I didn't exactly use in here, unless you count the big rock, but basically means that any element that is smaller or larger than most elements in the scene is going to grab attention. And then we have shape, where elements of different shape than the homogeneous rest get the attention, and which I didn't use in here either. Thinking back, it would have been cool to have the centaur perform in front of square trolls or something, but I mean, I completely didn't think about that. Anyway, next time. Talking about that, storytelling is also a way we can convey the principle. What usually tends to get our attention in a common setting? Beauty usually gets attention, loudness, opulence, which can be reflected on the way we decide to portray our main character. Let's make the centaur beautiful with a cheerful, loud personality that reflects on her expression and body language. And well, opulence seems to also be edge, so let's grab her with diamonds or something. I mean, yeah, why not? Then we have edge, texture, and light. When it comes to edges, the sharper, high-contrast ones get the attention, when the loose, undefined, and loose ones are easier to miss, which means the center will get extra attention when rendered. I will define shapes and forms at the scale of 100% with a hard brush, as opposed to the rest of the crowd, which I can paint at a smaller scale without caring too much about definition. And lastly, I will make sure my light sources hit her first, and the audience only gets the reflected light she projects, and maybe some dim spots here and there for ambience. Then we have hue and saturation. Brighter, saturated colors are more attention-grabbing than dark, desaturated ones. So we are giving her vibrant hues, while the rest of the crowd palette is darker and muted. And we are finished. If you want to know more about the illustration fundamentals, you can get hold of this break of a Bible in here. It's called Creative Illustration by Andrew Loomis. It has everything you need in order to succeed in this career. And I kind of prefer the physical object, But if it looks a little bit overwhelming for you, you are Marie Kondoing your way in your life and you don't want heavy object cluttering your space, then you can get the PDF for free. It's down below in the description, or otherwise you can just Google it. It's going to appear somewhere. So that will be it, and thanks for watching and have a nice day.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. Take your hand, my dear, and place them both in mine. You know you stopped me dead while I was passing by. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And oh my I like your style. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So I say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. I said, oh my God, I see you walking by. Take my hands, my dear, and look me in my eyes. Just like a monkey, I've been dancing my whole life. But you just beg to see me dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. And oh my I like your style. You make me wanna cry. And now I beg to see you dance just one more time. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'm back to do it all again. They say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. Dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. They say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, eh, eh. And when you're done, I'll